Oh my goodness. Look at this guy dressed to the nines. I'm here in a sweatshirt and he's wearing like a 7-piece suit, if those exist. You look so good. You're always great to have on air with us, Mr. Brian Johnson of Valley Mortgage. So good morning, BJ.
Good morning, Eric.
I butter you up every time.
You do. That's great. I feel so warm and tingly every time I'm with you.
You should get that checked out, man. I'm a little concerned about that.
You must be counting my shoes when you're saying a 7-piece suit.
That's right. Yeah. I think so. A shirt, a tie. We'll leave it there. We're going to go to undergarments and all that. Brian Johnson, this is a big week for you, right?
It is.
Coming up on Friday, what's happening?
We're moving to our new location, 3315 45th Street South. So we're really excited to move and get into our new space.
I've driven past. I haven't been in it yet, but Valley Mortgage is moving on up. Did I see correctly that your upstairs has this deck patio space that I can come and grill out at any time?
We do, yes. Definitely come on over. We've got a pretty large wraparound deck that we're going to have, and that'll be nice, facing south and east, so we'll get a lot of good sun.
And you are you're just going to be off 45th Street,
right?
And just south of 32nd Avenue.
Correct. Yep, we're right behind Rejuve, just south of where. Was it a Cutting Edge?
I think so.
It's coming in, yep.
So you can get your skin done, you can get a mortgage, and you can get new jewelry.
Right.
All at the same time.
Yep. We're 1 block south of Mexican Village, too.
Oh, boy. Well, you had me at free chips and salsa. That's really nice. BJ, thanks for sponsoring today's show. We always love having Valley Mortgage as a part of Real Estate Radio. What's happening right now in the mortgage industry? What do people need to know besides that you're moving this week?
Right. There's a lot of talk about the Fed raised interest rates last month. So they raised them 1/8%. Typically what happens then is long-term interest rates, 30-year fixed rates, tend to level out, maybe go down slightly, which we saw. Wow. I think that'll be somewhat short term, and then we might see things tick back up a little bit. But I think for the foreseeable, 3 to 6 months, we're going to be looking at interest rates in the still low 4% for a 30-year fix. So
which is great, right?
It's excellent. I think there was a lot of fear that things were going to jump back up closer to the 5% range, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time before that happens.
But we're on our way, right? Like 5%. Is that inevitable that we're going to be at 5 and 6 and 7% again?
I could see that. Within a year or two, I think we could see things creep back up to the 5% range. I'd read just last week about the Fed, a couple of the Fed officials talking about maybe 4 interest rate hikes this year.
Oh.
So I think they're projecting growth, seeing the economy kind of get back and moving. So with that growth, you're going to see some inflation, and then you'll see interest rates start to catch up to that. I was looking at a few years ago, it was probably in 2008, 2009, and interest rates were in the mid-5s. So it was not that long ago that they were in that range. So we've been kind of spoiled by...
And houses still moved.
They did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I talked about it in the beginning of the show, but we're seeing continued growth in the FM area. Mm-hmm. People continue to flock here, and we're expected to be at 350,000 people by 2040. When is there urgency? Like if I'm a seller or if I'm a buyer, when is the time to act? Is there a right time?
I think it's each person has their own needs and wants, then that will drive that. But with interest rates below 5-6%, anytime's really a good time because you're going to have continued growth, slow growth in values. You've got other debts and things that you can kind of manage. So if you're going to look at selling and paying off other higher interest debt and getting a lower interest on your mortgage, each person's situation is a little bit different. So.
Well, it's so interesting. I was consulting somebody in my world recently, and I want your opinion on it. So she has a mound of debt from student loans. I think together her and her husband are at probably $80,000 in student loans. Credit card debt of $15,000 ish, and then car payments, car debt of $50,000 or $60,000. She has within her house about $100,000 in equity. I told her that she should refinance her house or take out a second mortgage or a line of credit on her house, take that equity at a lower interest rate, and pay off those other debts so she can pay off all her debt way faster and use the value that she has in her house. What would you advise in that situation?
We'd take a look at what the interest rates are on those and what the full financial picture is. But
But,
I think
credit cards, we're talking like 15 or 20%,
yeah,
right?
those have gotten really high.
Yes,
lately.
they have.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen some as high as 30%. So it's kind
If
of
you make
crazy.
the minimum payment per month, you actually like accrue a higher bill every month, don't you? On things like that.
I think that can add up. There's that
Yeah.
big bold statement on your statement
Yes,
sometimes.
there is.
But I think in that situation, it definitely would make financial sense to take a look at and lower their monthly debt service. And they'll probably reduce a lot of stress for them. They're going to have
that would-
probably a much happier life. Be able to pay that off quicker.
You know, it's one of those things, folks, if you're out there right now and you have great equity on your house, but you have accrued some debt, medical, student loan payments are usually fairly handsome for their interest rates. But I've also seen people who take the wrong kind of subsidized or unsubsidized loan and they get hit with some big interest, right?
Right. And a lot of times people will defer them too, and they won't make any payments for a long time.
yeah.
And then that just keeps adding up interest. So
Yeah.
so student loans are a sore subject, I think, for a lot of people. But
Yes, they are. I think that if you're out there right now and you have some serious equity in your house, but you have some debt in your life, talk to Brian. He can advise you, point you in the right direction. If you're thinking about selling or if you're thinking about buying, talk to Brian. He's going to give you an idea of where you fall financially, where this is going to work. Buying and selling real estate is emotional, right? But we got to do the homework and do the hard work with you beforehand. So how can people get in touch with you, BJ?
sure, give us a call at my office, 701-461-8450. Or visit us online at valleymortgageinc.com, or you can stop by our new location, 3315 45th Street South.
Do we get brats if we stop by?
I need to go get a new grill.
Yeah.
actually,
Okay.
this summer.
Okay, you're on it. Brian Johnson, Valley Mortgage, thanks for sponsoring our show. Always love having you in studio. Folks, head to Fargo-Moorhead.com at the break and find out what your home is worth. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch.